Okay, we're going to do another review of the largest hands I played in a session this evening. And we're just going to kick straight into it. Let's just get this out of the way. So first one we've got, these are in whatever order. I've just selected the largest hands that I played from my database this evening. So I don't know if I'll remember all of them, but we'll see. So I open up the Jack 9 of Hearts, which is completely fine, obviously, and I get raised to a very small amount by a player with less than starting stack. So he's going to be obviously bad more often than not. Barely any hands on him, but this is pretty much the only information that I need. Definitely going to take a flop with the odds I'm getting. Obviously 2.8 to 1. I'm not going to be folding here very often anyway to this particular player, so I call. Flop a joint with a redraw. Obviously checking. He doesn't know this, but he shouldn't be betting this flop very often. This is going to be quite good for my range a lot of the time, and not so good for his range a lot of the time. And even with the hands that it is good for his range with, he should be checking back to balance out the times that he wants to check this board back with 2 overs and stuff. So, and this bet size is just ridiculous as well, because yeah, he's just going to fold out pretty much things that he wants to get a little bit of value from, like 1 pair hands. Maybe I'm probably not folding 1 pair hands, but anyway, the bet sizing is just poor. I don't think that he should be betting here almost ever anyway. And well, you can have a few bets, but not many. And I decided to go for a small raise. The reason being, this guy is betting close to pot, and from my experience, when a fish bets close to pot, they tend to like their hand quite a lot. So I'm just going to give him a price that he doesn't think he can fold and set up a turn jam. That's pretty much my plan here. Expect to get called by all of his overpairs, some 10x, and then he is going to fold out his overcard hands, but I think that he's going to have some spades as well, so I definitely want to be raising against that. But he's going to fold out some overcard hands, but I don't really want to have to check this turn and let's see like a jack on the turn. It's just going to be ugly. I want to just build a pot now and then jam turn. So he actually just jams anyway, and I call. And he has queens. His play's absolutely terrible. So that was the first one. What's next? 9's in the big blind. Okay. And another situation where we have a player with no hands on, but he has less than full. So vast majority of the time, we're going to go ahead and assume he's not very good. And when he limps, there are some limping strategies that are quite good from the small blind, but I don't see them very often in 10 and L zoom, and this stack size, I'm not going to take this as someone that's going to have a well constructed range in this spot. So I'm just going to raise for pure value with 9s, and he's going to call more often than not. I could even make this more, I think. Flop middle set, and he checks, and then here we're going to be betting like pretty much all our range. This is pretty good board for us, not the best for him. So I think we can just range bet here, and we bet half the pot. Want him to come along with like, I'm going to do this anyway because I don't need to bet too much with my range to get him to fold quite a lot of his, because it's not going to be very good for him very often, and I do have like all the 9s, so he has to pretty much have a king or like 10s or something, jacks, which he shouldn't have, but you never know, to be able to call this bet. So I don't expect to get many calls, but he does call the turn. I've been experimenting with something recently that I've been watching a few videos on and working on, which is the turn, overbetting the turn. I'm going to overbet here with like diamonds and like queen 10 of diamonds, queen jack of diamonds, 4-3 of diamonds. I might have, I probably do have 4-3 of diamonds. I want to play a bigger pot in position with that hand against this guy. And then sets and 2 pair that I might have. Don't have a lot of 2 pair here, but it also sets up river jams really nicely, like pot size river jam here when he calls this turn bet. And like I said, he's not going to have too many hands that can call the flop, so if he does have a king, I expect this guy to not be able to fold it on this turn. And he calls. The river is a jack. I don't expect him to have any, apart from specifically queen 10 of diamonds. I don't expect him to have a hand, and he probably should be raising that pre. He may not, because this guy's doesn't really know what he's doing. So it's tough to assume anything about his hand, to be honest. But he definitely can have queen ten of diamonds here. Obviously, we're not concerned about that. He checks and we jam. And I don't remember how quickly he called, but he does call, and he has tens. His play is, we're going to go with suboptimal. Next hand, aces, my favorite hand. Open 2.5 in middle position. Everyone folds to the big blind. Oh no, we get a call from the small blind, and then the big blind open jams for 9-6. Oh yeah, I do remember this. And we're gonna go ahead and goal in there. And he has tens. Yeah, again, very questionable. Obviously, some very nice players out this evening. Had I not run a little bit below EV, I could have had a really, really good night. I did have a good night anyway, but yeah, this kind of play was making it quite enjoyable for me at some points. So not much to say about that. Don't recall this. I do have some like losing hands in here. I think they might be all be at the end, so that should be interesting. Open for 2.5 with the king 10 of clubs, and we see a call from the big blind. Doesn't mean too much. 10-10-3. He is gonna have a lot of nothing going on here, but he's gonna have to call me with like some ace highs, maybe even some king highs, because of how dry this board is. Doesn't have many threes, and then obviously all his pocket pairs that only call. So I'm gonna be betting this probably my whole range here. I have no idea if that's good or not, but I'm thinking I'm gonna see lots of folds. So when I have a 10, I'm just gonna bet and expect folds. He does call. 10's a 7 of diamonds. He checks and I bet 75%, and he raises me. Obviously he can have a 10 here. Like, I would expect ace 10 to re-raise pre from a good player. I have no idea if this guy's a good player or not, because I have no hands on him. So ace 10 I don't think he's going to have very often. Then queen 10, jack 10, I expect that he will do this with quite often when he sees a second diamond on the turn. And then as far as his bluff goes, he's going to have 9-8 of diamonds, or maybe queen jack of diamonds. Just some diamond floats, like ace x of diamonds, stuff like that. So obviously we call. We're doing quite well against that range. Well, we're smashing that range. We lose to threes, but meh. Maybe sevens, obviously, as well. We river quite well. This guy bets $3. He's gonna be doing this with like a king queen of diamonds that he picked up. He can't have king queen diamonds really, but because he just called pre. But you never know with these players. So he's gonna be doing that with that, and then he's gonna be quite strong here quite often. 3-7, 3. He's gonna have a 10, 3, 7s more often than not. I would have expected. Obviously, I'm gonna jam because I've got the Tony Stonehams, and he calls and has ace 10, which is quite unfortunate for him. But he should be 3-betting pre, and yeah, I like how he played after not 3-betting pre. But apart from, he should probably, let me just check the sizes. He should just be jamming river, really, and he should have probably made it more on the turn. But never mind. Next up, I've got a feeling that I'm going to start to. I win probably another couple hands, and then I'm going to start to lose some hands, which I think are the most interesting ones, because I'm pretty sure maybe 2 or 3 of them I have really not too much idea of what I was playing at. So that should be fun to look at. I'll just go back to the start here. Cut-off race is 25. I decided to take 8-6 of spades as a 3-bet, which is completely fine. I like this kind of hand in position. I like to 3-bet in position. So, yeah, no reason not to. I get a cold call from a player with less than starting stack. So I don't really have a cold calling range. So I expect this to look like 10s, jacks, 9s. That's why I don't have a cold calling range, because it looks like that so often, and then it's pretty suboptimal to do it with anything else, which makes it suboptimal to do it with those hands as well. So he should be just for betting those hands, especially because I can have stuff like this all the time. So he's not going to have eights very often because I have an eight, but nines, tens, jacks, I expect him to have most of the time. And then this guy's going to call with getting a good price. Flop is deuce, 9, 10 rainbow. And it checks to me. I don't think this is a very good spot to bet. I do have backdoor spades and a gut shot, but I don't think I'm going to get many folds. Like I said, this guy is going to have nines, tens, jacks a lot, and this is obviously not a good spot to bet against those hands. And then he's going to have like maybe some queen jack suited, king queen suited, stuff like that. He doesn't want to 4-bet, but doesn't want to fold. So, yeah, not going to get those to fold. He's going to have like backdoor flush draws and gut shots and open end straight draws and sets. So, not interested. And this guy can have a bunch of 10x. So, definitely don't want to bet here. A reasonable turn for a hand, and this guy bets 180. When he bets 180 here, I expect him to have 2-pair, not often at all, and a set almost always because of my logic before the flop. Final folds, and we're obviously just going to call here. I think a case could be made for raising actually because, like I said, he's going to have sets, and we don't really want to see a river that makes it scarier for him, like a club or a straight card. So maybe we could raise here, but just in case he's getting out of line with like a king queen, jack queen that he decided to take control because I checked back, I think it's going to be more beneficial to just call here, and we're going to get the money on the river more often from his bluffs and his value rather than just playing it safe and jamming and hoping he has a set on the turn, which is I like my play. I think calling is good. So unless he has specifically king jack, which he can have, king jack of diamond, spades or clubs, then we're going to be pretty happy that we're winning this on the river. And when he bets small, like I said, king jack, jack 8, he doesn't have jack 8 ever. He can definitely have king jack sometimes, but I expect him to probably not always bet the turn with king jack. So we pretty much have the nuts here, so we're going to go all in for value, and he calls and does have nines. Right, I think I've got some losing hands now. I prefer to mix them up, but this is just the way I loaded them. I think I sorted by loss and then win. So this hand, button opens to 3x, which I don't like at all. And I'm going to 3-bet for value with ace king, nothing to say. He calls. Flop is 6, queen 7. He can have a bit of queen x going on. Obviously, we're going to be wanting to bet here with. We're going to have kings. We're going to have aces. We're going to have king queen. We're going to have ace queen. Queen jack. We're going to have loads here. So we're going to bet for value with a lot of that stuff, and then we obviously want to include some other things like this hand, and then some 8-9 that we're going to have clubby stuff. So definite bet, and start off small because unless he has a queen, which we unblock, so he can have a queen quite a lot, we're going to not need to bet too much too often to get folds. He can have some 6-7 stuff, but not as often as the rest of his range. So he calls, which could mean quite a lot of stuff. 8-7, queen x, things like that. We block a lot of club stuff, so he's not going to have too much of that. We turn a gut shot, and I think this is a good spot to bet again. You're going to put queen, king. He's not going to have king, queen, often because we block it. But he's going to have queen 10, like 8-7 that he called with, that we put a lot of pressure on this turn. So I go for 75%, and sizing in a way that means that we can jam river if we brick or if we hit. So we see a call. So yeah, like I said, queen x, 8-7, 9s, 10s, maybe jacks, but I'm expecting to get maybe raised, or maybe not. No, yeah, you can have jacks. Probably not queens, probably 7s, and probably 6s still as well. So any of that stuff, but also some queen x and some like I said, 8-7 and some 9s and some 10s that we can do pretty well against on the river if we want to bluff. End up not needing to. Yeah, I really like how I played this hand in terms of sizing. Jamming here and getting called by ace jack, which is quite an unfortunate river for him. But his flop call is absolutely totally standard. I don't mind seeing some maybe raises raises from him, but he's in position, so yeah, I like his play. I think it's really unfortunate that river, and he's definitely going to have to call. So yeah, fine from him. Right, here we go. 3x under the gun, and a 3-bet. Don't know really either of these players, but actually I played a few hands with this guy, and he seemed quite active. So I decided to go ahead and 4-bet in position. I think it's fine. It's like kind of like a. I think maybe I can. I don't. The thing is, I don't have a. Like I said, I don't have a calling range here very often. So 4-bet or fold, and I don't want to fold. So I think this is fine. I block some good stuff, and my hand has good equity. So we then see a call and another call. I have absolutely no idea what this means, but there's so much in the middle. So when I see 7, queen, 10, I can't say that I'm thrilled. I do block queens. Obviously 10s is out there, and then we've got slow paid kings and aces, which I would expect to not see that often, considering this guy would probably want to be just pumping it in after he sees a 3-bet and a 4-bet. So cold calling the 4-bet, he can definitely do. But with all that money in the middle and only everyone having less than pot left, I just decided to rip after they checked me. I think this has to be fine, but I'd be open to someone telling me I'm bad, which I could well be, as he has kings, but he can have like maybe king queen here, and I have no idea. He could be bad as hell because he only have 4 hands on him, so he can have king queen, I guess, but we block that. Ace queen also. Yeah, once he calls, I'm pretty dead, I think. Yeah, I think this could do some more evaluation in a separate video potentially, but for this video, we're going to leave it there. Ace king of diamonds, raise 2.5. That's fine. Get called the button by play we have know nothing about, and get 3-bet by somebody we know nothing about. In those situations and out of position, in position I am. I think this is going to have quite a good amount of equity. So I'll decide to 4-bet, get jammed on, and then once I've got 230 in there with ace king of diamonds, when I block aces and kings, I'm just going to be calling off. And I think he has ace queen, yeah. So nothing wrong with my play. Fairly normal and a fairly normal board. So I shouldn't complain. I had some decent hands in this session, so he can have that one. And that's, I believe, everything, is it? Yeah. So thanks very much, and I'll do another one soon.